Hey, what's going on, everybody? Josh and Stacy here with the Everything Paranormal Show. And sorry for the late start tonight. We're starting an hour behind at 10 o'clock Eastern instead of 9. Totally my fault, but that's okay. So we're happy to be here. And today we're going to be talking paranormal stuff. I know you guys have been seeing a lot of content with tarot reading and dowsing rod sessions, which, hey, we love doing for you. And we're going to do more of those. Trust me. So if you need something like that, we got more live sessions coming up. But tonight is our regular Thursday night show. I figured it'd be nice to talk about some paranormal type stuff. I know a lot of you love talking about ghosts and spirits and all that. And I thought something that we talk about every once in a while is ghosts, like what is it like in Ghostbusting? Of course, I'm wearing my Ghostbusters hat, right? We see the movies, we've seen them. And sometimes people are like, hey, what the heck, Ghostbusting, right? Proton packs and all that stuff, but and I know, like, with all the reality TV, people were like, oh, so this is kind of like real life ghostbusting. And then you had YouTube, and then a lot of things started getting faked even more. It just, what is real, right? What is real ghostbusting? So I just want to look at some different approaches. Stacy, of course, has a different take on things where he doesn't necessarily do the whole team investigator thing. But I'll let him explain some of that too as well. And but we'll talk some different aspects. So first, let's check in with Stacy. Stacy, how you doing tonight, brother?
Doing good. For whatever reason, I don't know why, but today I've just been dragging ass. I don't know if it's the news that's going on, whether it's the changing of the seasons, whatever. It's just, yeah, Terry Lynn.
Yeah, Terry Lynn. Hey. So yeah, and it is what it is today, and what can you do, man? It's like there's just some days, and today has just been hectic for me. It's like busy, not so much like my job, but just busy with everything. And our son had his first scrimmage in high school tennis. Like, he finally got on the team and all that good stuff. We worked out all the details, and he got to play. He won his first match. So and it was a really good match. I wish I could have been there, but unfortunately I was working. So it's like, I don't get to go to him. And then I got to show up later at the end when the team was hanging out. There was still a few matches left, but.
Well, the only reason you feel so bad about it is because you're a terrible parent. That's
right.
What it's
all about. I know. Jeez. I mean, I'm busy working and stuff, making money for the family. It's like, how dare I? I should have been there. But yes, doubles and singles, by the way. Yes, Christian won both, or our son won both doubles and singles, both of his things, and quite a bit. Like, he did really good, like especially the doubles. They really killed it, him and his partner. Let's see. So yes, I want to talk about ghostbusting in real life. So stick around, because there's going to be a lot of things we're going to discuss. One is, I guess it would be on how you approach this. Is one, are you the person living in the home and you have a spirit, you have a haunting, and you're try to tackle it yourself? So there's kind of like that ghostbusting. And then there's who you're going to call, a paranormal team, or maybe an individual. Sometimes there's psychics, there's individuals that want help. So in that case, again, whoever you call, they may come and do some ghostbusting for you. So I want to talk first before we get into maybe who's real and who's not real kind of thing for ghostbusting. I don't want to cover that yet. We'll just get into some of the technicalities of it first, is the different approaches. And I want to start with you, Stacy, because I know we have a lot of technical stuff that I'm going to get into also. So hypothetically, if somebody were to contact you and say, hey, I've got a problem with spirits in my house, could you help me out? What kind of approach would you take?
Well, initially, you have the interview process, and why do you think the thing's haunted? You know, what is happening that makes you believe that this is a haunting and not something else? You know, if you've got a teenager in the house who's hitting puberty, especially girls, freaky stuff can just start happening. And it really doesn't have anything to do with haunting necessarily, but they just give off a huge, it's like an atomic bomb when it comes to, you know, energy, and stuff can just start happening, you know. And some paranormal scientists believe that that's the peak moment of kinetic ability, psychic kinetic ability, where girls can actually throw a temper tantrum or get really upset about something, and things will start falling off the walls. Pictures will start falling off the walls. Plates will fly off the shelves, different things like that. And there's nothing to do with the haunting. It has everything to do with a teenage girl hitting puberty. So you want to go through these things to find out what's going on, to determine whether or not it's truly a haunting or whether it's something else. And if it is, you can, at that point, approach, you know, deal with what's going on as far as like logistics are concerned.
Right. Yeah. And yeah, definitely. Like, and I want to touch on that too, because you bring up a good point, is types of haunting. So generally speaking, the way most, I guess you'd say, the industry, if you look at paranormal investigators as a whole, there's a ton of different like theories, right? There's a lot of them that are similar. Like that's why, like you or I or any of us typically can go anywhere in the country, and I can go on an investigation with somebody, and we'll be able to talk shop. We'll be able to talk about some similar jargon, you know, just that dark shadows and this and that. You know, we all share that kind of similar talk. But where we differ is all of our little theories, or, you know, there's always little tweaks. Sometimes we're real close in theories, but again, we all have our own little takes. The reason why I bring that up, so most commonly, the classifications that you find with hauntings are sort of broken down into like 4 categories: residual, intelligent, poltergeist, and a demonic. Now, poltergeist, by definition, is German, right, for noisy ghost. So technically, you could have a ghost haunting you and just basically knocking things around, knocking stuff, just being noisy, right? That could be a poltergeist. But we tend to associate that more with like stacking of chairs and moving of objects. And so poltergeist has really taken on a sort of different meaning when it comes to classification. It's more like what Stacy was talking about, when you actually have that PKE going through your house, like that psychokinetic energy from maybe that angst teenager, especially like female preteens or teenagers going through that, basically that puberty stage. And things happen, but there's no real intelligence behind them. That's typically how they will classify like a poltergeist classification style of haunting. Of course, intelligent is just that, meaning you have a spirit, maybe grandma, maybe, you know, some spirit, human most likely, and I said most likely, but it's something that you're going to be able to interact with. Things like, again, if you have, say, a dowsing rod session or a spirit box session, even EVP, something that's going to interact and respond intelligently to your answers. So if, you know, you were to say, hey, what's your name? But then you get an answer saying, you know, Gettysburg, you know, it doesn't always mean it's intelligent haunting. You got to kind of look at your responses the rest of the evening, because if it's not intelligent, now we have another classification called residual. And this is like a tape on loop, right? This is where traumatic events or just things in the history can repeat itself like a ghost in a replay, a loop, right? And certain things can trigger it. And so, again, it may seem like intelligent, but when you start getting some of the similar repeating issues, things like that, usually then you can kind of realize. And of course, like battlefields are real famous for residual hauntings, things like that. Just places with, again, severe traumatic events. And of course, the fourth one is that demonic. And this is when we're talking evil spirits, and what people like to refer to as like the Satan Legion, things like that. But when you really get into some truly demonic possessions, things like that, that's that classification.
Mhm.
So it's a very dangerous classification as well. But that's kind of the general four that I wanted to cover. Stacy, did you want to add a few things in there on those classifications? What do you think?
Yeah, a lot of what spiritists or spirit mediums will refer back to is essentially the Bible of seances and mediumship, which is called the Book of Mediums, written by Allan Kardec, who wrote this book at the end of the 1800s. He was a scientist who was a complete cynic and didn't believe in spirits at all. He didn't believe in anything that you couldn't wasn't part of the aesthetic, couldn't be seen or felt or any of that sort. He was an atheist across the board, and suddenly he began to experience things after he fell off a ladder and hit his head. He started to experience mediumship abilities, that he approached it like a scientist would. He studied what was going on and talked with the spirits to determine what was what.
Right.
And they gave him instructions on, they knew that this is what was going to take place. They actually orchestrated the fall, all of that. So he actually became not only the biggest critic, it would be like Rush Limbaugh suddenly becoming a tree hugger. That kind of thing is what took place. He was known for being a complete cynic in science against this table tipping and seances and parlor stuff, to being the biggest advocate. So much so that in Spain, where he lived and did all of this work, he was actually arrested and imprisoned for essentially witchcraft.
Right.
Because he was conversing with the dead, and that was like big no-no in the big Catholic country of Spain. But he pushed forward anyway, got the book published, and throughout Latin America, it's been translated into every language. But it is the Bible that every modern book on spirits and mediumship and all that, determining what is what, comes from this book called the Book of Mediums. And he doesn't actually go into the whole idea of demonic spirits, because he breaks them down into being obsessive spirits, people who are dead, but they're obsessive compulsive, and they go after people who are obsessive compulsive, and they sync up with them, and they get them to do really weird stuff because they're both obsessive compulsive, and it just locks into each other. Then you have, spirits that are obsessed with you because you remind them of somebody who they were with in life. Somebody whose life was cut short, and they were about ready to get married, so to speak. And they never got to get married, and they died in their wedding dress, the classic haunting of the bride kind of thing. She becomes obsessed about the idea of being in a relationship with you because you are a dead ringer for her husband, and she just wants to be, and she starts getting upset and doing weird stuff. She's not demonic, she's just not right.
Right.
That kind of thing is spelled out in the Book of Mediums, and dealing with these different kinds of spirits and how to resolve these problems. I personally have a problem with the whole demonic concept, because I've never come across anything like it ever. A non-human entity that is more animal than human, something that is beyond basically a fallen angel that comes down and wants to torment somebody who's alive. These kinds of things I've never ever come across. I've come across supreme assholes who've crossed over, and they can cause all kind of havoc. I mean, Look at all
Right.
the people that have died throughout history who are complete dick. You know, got Hitler, Genghis Khan, all these people are on the other side. And, you know, depending on how they crossed over or how they went into the realm of the dead, determines how they're going to be now. That doesn't change. And, you know, dealing with somebody that's like that is more likely than a demonic entity, you know.
Yeah. I mean, there's and you know, again, this is what I was talking about, folks. Is like everybody's got a different type take on what they feel is like in the afterlife, and there's not always a right or wrong. But like Stacy has some really good points, and there is those signs, and this is where sometimes you just need help, you know. And I wouldn't necessarily like. I would probably even never really call myself like a professional paranormal investigator or anything like that. But we do have experience. And by that, I mean, you know, when you do it enough, you gain experience and you kind of are able to recognize, plus with intuitions. Sometimes some of us have assistance with spirit guides, things like that. Like my wife, her sensitivity, all those things, all the different factors we can, you know, you may have to get help so that way you can recognize, is this spirit like obsessively compulsive over you, you know, or is this potentially demonic, you know, or is this just a pissed off asshole, you know, just somebody that just had a bum life and he's mad he died and he's got a shitty afterlife. You know, I mean,
Some
you
of them
know,
are just sadistic in entertaining themselves with. Those are the Ouija board spirits mostly, the ones that come across and then they start messing with people's lives after they've moved the Ouija the planchette around. Um, they have they just it's so entertaining to them because they have nothing in that that makes them happy anymore. So being cruel to people on this side is, you know, you get scared, they feed off that energy. It is a huge form of entertainment. You know, dance for me monkey kind of thing. You know,
right,
that's where they're at. They're not evil, they're just assholes.
right.
And they, you know, use the Ouija board seances mostly to find their next prey.
So I want to get into a little bit of when, you know, a team, if you're watching this and you're a team or you're just starting out, you know, what should you do on an approach to an investigation? Stacy brought this up earlier. Obviously, the first thing you're going to do when you get a phone call or a message from somebody is you're going to want to go through a screening process. You're going to want to have a screening process in place of asking questions, you know, asking them kind of that who, what, when, where, how, right?
Mhm.
The whole thing about like the journalism days, right? Uh, anyways, if but you want to ask them these questions, you know, really try to find out what's going on with them. You really have to spend time because, unfortunately, in the paranormal world, you have to watch out for the crazies. Okay,
Mhm.
there is definitely people out there that have some insane things. Now, who am I to judge? Maybe wouldn't that be crazy if the crazy people that were spouting off some of this insane things were actually right? You know,
Well,
so who
in
knows?
to
But
be fair, they're not half as crazy as the UFO community. If you're going
right,
to do UFO investigations, that is a whole level of batshit that,
oh,
you know, makes the ghost hunters look really normal in comparison.
right. Well, but in any case, what I was saying is that you want to pre-screen first, and then, but when you approach it, again, if you're not experienced, if you're a new team, I would say do not approach residential cases. And I probably don't want to. I'm not going to talk a whole lot about them, but I will. So for this conversation, let's say it's an abandoned house or abandoned building that you have permission that you didn't break into,
Mhm.
that you have permission to be there, And let's say the owners were like, hey, something's going on here. I keep the place secure, but I still see lights coming on and there's no power. Just weird things, right? So you go to investigate it. So you may say to yourself, Josh, what do I need to take with me for my first investigation? What's the minimal? Like maybe you don't have a budget. So the first thing I would say for sure is that if you have a client or if you are going somewhere and you're not trying to prove anything to anybody, then technically you are the best instrument. You are the best instrument. You're going to go there. You're going to be able to feel things, look at things, see things, smell, all your senses. Okay. Because that's another thing that they forget about smells, smells and investigations. And I'm not talking about when one of your teammates farts. I'm talking about at the investigation, sometimes out of the blue, that all of a sudden you get overwhelming cologne or cigar smoke or certain odors. People, you can't translate that to camera. Anyways, I don't want to get sidetracked. So the point is, you can just go to an investigation yourself, but of course, most of us want to try to record proof. So the biggest thing is almost everybody nowadays has a cell phone. Okay. They have cameras on there. And of course, I always upgrade whenever I get a new cell phone. I make sure I get the best one of the time because of the cameras on them. Especially with the iPhone and the 4K system and all that stuff. And I always try to make sure to get, but now again, you don't have to get, you can be Samsung, whatever, it don't matter. But your cell phone, you can film. Of course, the film also captures audio. If you're not filming, if you're like in the total darkness and you don't have night vision and you wanted to do an EVP session, you can use voice memo. You can use the voice memo app on your phone. Most phones have them. Or you can download them for free usually, and you can use the voice memo to do EVP sessions. Okay. So again, very basic, minimal tool when you're going in to a location. Once you start maybe branching out and you say, you know what, Josh, I got a few bucks. I filed my tax return. I got a few bucks back. What should I buy first? I would say honestly, for me, it's a toss up. It depends on what you really like to do, but there's going to be two things. So one, you could go with an EMF meter, right? EMF meter, really cool. And this is really good for establishing the baseline. When you first show up to a property, you want to walk around. You want to pay attention to the meter. You want to hold it up to things and see if it blinks or see what's going on with it. Get a baseline reading because EMF doesn't just stand still; it does move and like bounces around and stuff. So, but there's certain hot spots. You may find a hot spot and it'd be like, oh, it's pinging out if I stand right here. If you move over, nothing. Doesn't mean it's a ghost though, folks. All right. But this is also can be used for intelligent communication because as you might have just seen, mine blinked over here on the second time. But now that could just be normal paranormal activity. What's going on, Urban Ghost Hunters? What's up? I see you. Hey. We're just doing some paranormal education today. Just going over some basic stuff. But yes, now how to use this for intelligent communication is you can open up a communication session and ask a spirit to light this up. Now, of course, if we're sitting here and you get like a blink or two, you're probably getting some EMF waves from some equipment or whatnot. But now if it really spikes when you ask the question, say, can you light this up for me? And if it goes all the way red, then if it's like, boom, can you do that again? Boom. It's like now you maybe actually communicating. So this can be used also as a communication tool. But what I like about EMF is it has the other purpose of actually finding EMF problems. Like when if you guys ever watched some of the latest videos that I've had, we have Tara in the chat a lot of times, and that was the last residential investigation I did. And for her house, she was riddled with EMF. I mean, it was spiking off the charts. And it doesn't mean that, excuse me, it doesn't mean that her house was filled with ghosts. She had a lot of electrical problems or certain hot spots, but that can contribute to health problems, to hallucinations. It can contribute to the paranormal as well. So you can take even just a minor haunting and it becomes a major haunting. So just this is another like first step. And these only run about 50 or $60, but get the ones that don't say made in the USA. If it says made in the USA up here, it's probably a China model. I recommend going to Ghost Augustine website. They're the ones that actually saved the EMF meters, the K2 meters, from going out of going to become extinct a long time ago, and they can tell you the difference between fake ones and real ones. This was a real one. Mm-hmm. So, anyways, Stacey, you want to throw anything in on this real quick?
Yeah, for someone like me who's a priest would go into a particular site for a haunting, we wouldn't actually use any of the electronic stuff. As far as gathering evidence on that level is completely unnecessary. Simply because we can determine through other elemental things that this is actually a true haunting. The type of haunting will depend on the behavior. And, you went through the 5 different kinds of hauntings in that level. And if it's the one where we're talking, so some people jump straight to possession as being the, golden ring of hauntings.
Right.
The thing of it is in order for a possession to take place, it doesn't just happen. You don't wake up one morning and find yourself possessed. It is a conditioning by the spirit for their host to allow that to take place. And it takes many, many months, if not years, for that conditioning to actually kick in, and you respond like a Pavlovian dog to whatever that spirit wants you to, and then suddenly they have full control. That takes a really, really long time, and signs of haunting and spirit activity is thick before that even takes place. I mean, it's not like Hollywood where Amityville Horror, where they go in, they move into the house, 3 weeks later the whole family's been murdered, because of a possession, that kind of thing. Right. It doesn't happen like that. So developing a profile of what is actually taking place based on the behavior of the spirit, you can determine what to do after that. And
right. And I think Stacey brings out makes a point of like, depending on your approach, and whereas like he's approaching things more of a spiritual warfare, right? Going in there. And I think what I was talking about, the approach of paranormal investigators, is more of like the science approach of trying to capture evidence versus actually cleansing and doing spiritual warfare. So it's almost like there's 2 styles of approach. Like you can kind of skip all the science stuff and all that. Like if you're a form of a priest, like Stacey, there's different types of priests out there. Whether it's anywhere from a Baptist priest to Pyomeombe or metaphysical priest. There's all kinds of forms, but no matter what, you may just be going in there to take care of business, to help people out. Or like I said, you may be going there to capture evidence. So I specialize in the capturing of the evidence and doing all that crap, and then work on eviction.
Yeah. Well, in urban ghost hunters, that's essentially what I was talking about. The whole idea of possession, being a full possession, isn't it? even like in the movies, like where, in Ghost, where Whoopi Goldberg, shared the body with what's his face, dancer guy. That's not how it actually works. Spirits, when they take possession, it is more like a puppet with strings. They go through the back of the head, where your third eye is at. That's the port, like you would have in the Matrix, where everything is controlled, and they will literally reach inside that and have full control of your body at that point. But they're not actually wearing your meat suit. They're controlling it from behind.
Well, and I'm going to give you a chance to answer these, because Urban Ghost Hunter says, Stacy, isn't a possession, and I think this is what you're talking about, isn't a possession from prolonged oppression where the subject is worn down sometimes over a period of months and maybe even years?
Yeah, that's what we're talking about.
And this ICU said it takes that long. Wow, I thought possession was instant. Like if you become unconscious or high on stuff, they can take over.
If you have an aptitude of what's known as trance mediumship, then yes. It's sort of like leaving the keys in your car. You have that aptitude. Most people don't. So if you were to be in a position where you're on ayahuasca or DMT or something that is really intense, mind altering, to where your mind is completely occupied, they can take over after that. You wouldn't even know it. Trance mediumship is instantaneous.
There's two types of people. One, the person that can be susceptible to a Jedi mind trick, and the ones that can't.
Yeah. Well,
Sorry, I had to throw that in there.
The trance mediums aren't weak-minded. They have an extra gear in the box that they didn't know about. But most people don't have that. I know, because I have tried to do that, to become a trance medium, and it just, I've had one success, and from there on, it hasn't been successful at all. And not everybody has the aptitude, and it is an aptitude.
What's going on, Matt? I see Matt popped in the chat there.
Hey,
so
Matt.
Yeah. So again, as we talk about different aspects, and I love when Stacy is able to expand upon different things, and that's why he's here. That's why we love Stacy, because he can really expand on that side of things, the spiritual side. So I want to keep pressing forward in between and get back to this, which is the next thing. So again, I said, hey, if you can invest in an EMF detector, the K2, preferably. I did try the Cambridge Labs one. It's a nice, but I like the K2 one the best. Now, little treat for you guys. I've actually came across my original digital recorder, my very first digital recorder. So after the whole tape thing, my very first digital recorder, and I captured tons of EVPs with this. So it's an Olympus, right? And this thing only had, I think it was only maybe 8 hours that you could do, which back then was like pretty amazing.
Yeah.
Terry Lynn had a better model that could do even more, but her model, we just seem to capture more on this one. It's always the cheaper ones that seem to really capture the EVPs the best. But we did get quite a few off hers. But I don't have hers. But this was my very first model that I ever had. So I just thought I'd share that with you guys. Huh?
Does it save in WAV format or MP3?
Wave.
You got more channels on a WAV than you do in MP3.
Yeah. The bad thing is that there's still stuff on here. I think we've already downloaded, though. It's probably just copies I never deleted. But now, for the life of me, I cannot download this up to modern computers. Like, no matter what, even if you try to go back to I even found the original disc, the installation disc. Like, nothing you can do now will retrieve these off anymore. So, but it's just cool to have. It's cool to have. Now, Now I have the Zoom H1 recorders, which I love. I love these. These are the omnidirectional, and even though it's more modern, this does really well. I really like this. You can put this on good high quality. You can even use this for podcasts if you really want to, because you got like your 96, bit rates and stuff. Really good recorder. So if you want to really make the step up, you could go to something like this if you really want to. Um, you can get into that. There's other ones, but again, guys, if you can find a cheap recorder, a fairly modern, a little more than this one, but yet still kind of a cheap model, get it, try it. Believe it or not, you may have more success with that.
Matt's doing an investigation tomorrow.
Not much gearing up. There you go, Josh. You can save those old EVPs to Wavepad. I'll send you an email tomorrow and tell you how. It's possible. The problem is getting them off there. Okay, I probably, if I really wanted to, I could play them and record them with a microphone or transfer them through that way, like play them through the headphones. And there's ways I can do it. Trust me, I could do it if I really wanted to. But to be honest with you, I don't think they're really worth it. I think I already have them anyways. But I appreciate that. Any advice always helps. But yeah, I'll definitely check it out if you send it to me. But yes, so the next thing, let's see what else. Once you decide, get a lightsaber. I'm just kidding. I like to throw in my lightsaber. Okay. Get your lightsaber. This is going to help fight ghosts. All right. So the one thing I also want to get into is, let's see here. Okay, so there is a couple things. I'm trying to remember if I had them here. Stacy, talk to the people.
Okay. Well, what were you talking about before with profiling different spirits as their activity and how they actually respond? Not every haunting is truly a haunting. Sometimes it's a spirit or spirit guide, even a family member like Grandma Betty, who wants to communicate something to you. And sometimes spirits can be a little bit clumsy, especially when they're newly crossed over. And by that I mean within 50 to 100 years, newly crossed over. They don't actually have the wherewithal of how to interact with not only their environment, but this environment as well. So it can mimic poltergeist, it can mimic all kinds of other hauntings when it's really not. It's just a message or an idea needs to be communicated to you or the person who's living in the house. And then you also have the kind of hauntings too, where it's actually haunting a person and not a location. We'll probably get into that here in a minute when Josh actually figures out
what's going on. I'm just grabbing shit.
But
while you're talking,
a haunting of a person, it doesn't matter where you go. It's that haunting is going to follow you. And it actually can be like Stephen King, Christine, where the haunting is in the car. It's attached to something in this physical plane as an anchor because it doesn't want to go into the light. It doesn't want to cross over. It's using something here to grasp onto, to tether itself. So, and it can be a person, a location, a particular item. You get a lot of, if you go antiquing a lot, it's really thick in antique shops of things that have spirits attached to them. Not every item is a haunted item, but you'd be surprised at how many items actually are, because people are attached to that brooch, the ring, the wedding ring, the dress, the wedding dress that's hanging on the rack. They just cannot leave that behind because that was everything to them.
So here's my SLS camera. Just letting you know, this is the one that it's a little jacked up because it was kind of laying over. So, anyways, a little jacked up, but I'll have to play with it later. I don't know what I did to it, but anyways, it's a little jacked up. But you can see here, I've got this tripod stand down here. Actually, it's a pistol grip tripod, so I can actually like collapse this in here. I can swing this down. So if I want to hold it with a second hand, I've got this grip here. It's a little bulkier than some of the other builds out there, but this is back when I did a video on this. It's a do-it-yourself for $200 or under. All right, Xbox, all that stuff. Battery pack back here to support everything. It's a good build, but it's a little sloppy looking right now just because again, it was kind of laying around. I haven't been using it. I haven't been a huge fan of it, but it makes for good videos when you get to see a lot of, what looks like spirits, but it's really just stick figuring. But SLS, that's an option. Again, pros and cons. Pros is it looks good for a video. It looks impressive. I'm not fully convinced. If you really research the technology on them, this is what, like, after I built it and I was all excited and I got to use it, like, for a couple investigations. If you go to, like, I think I used it in the Nickerson Sneed investigation and stuff. And then it was like, I really all of a sudden did some more research, some intense research on how the Xbox Connect works. And if you really get into it, you'll realize that really what you're seeing is it's just trying to connect some dots. And a lot of times you see these dancing people or waving people, things like that. You can try to, the only way I can tell you is that if you're going to use it for videos, try to make them respond intelligently. But, again, if you ask them to wave, chances are you're probably going to get that because that's what they all seem to do. Like, oh, look, it's dancing or it's teabagging someone, whatever. So it's the same stuff. So that is one of your equipment options. But again, I'm trying to kind of stick to some core stuff and then look at the bigger options. The EMF or EVP recording stuff. Terry Lynn's like, oh my God. Josh, have you seen the new version of the SLS using LiDAR? Yeah, I mean, if there's a build, I'm curious if there's a DIY build on them out there. Well, I don't know about the new one. I know I got the old school one that I built on that. Yes, they're an Etsy and Amazon. I can't believe they're selling haunted items on eBay. Oh, yeah. So I was missing some stuff when I was talking. So
the haunted stuff that they're selling on eBay and Etsy, it's all a scam. I mean, it's P.T. Barnum stuff. A man and his money are soon parted, kind of thing. As most of the stuff that has wild claims on, having genies in pendants that, or crystals that, things like that. Just keep going. It's all junk. The SLS thing, I don't know much about it, honestly. I haven't done a whole lot of research in the tech. I just look at who's actually promoting it the hardest, like Zack Attack, and that lets me know that, not so much. I'm not, because he's going to go with whatever is most fantastical, not what is most accurate, what is,
right.
If he ever actually came across something that he claims that he comes across, he'd run out of there with a doughy pant load and never look back.
Yeah, absolutely. You're right. And, but in any case, some of the things that you can invest that are not too expensive nowadays too, like baby monitors, like little wireless baby monitors, especially battery powered ones. They're good to leave in rooms, or like you can take the little speaker with you. It's even got a little belt clip, so sometimes you can have the monitors just sitting in one of the rooms while you actually hear in real time as you walk around the investigation. So they work really well. Another inexpensive thing that you can buy and invest if you want to expand your thing. I've got a couple of these. Some of the stuff I have duplicates. I just wanted to show you what they are. But this here, this is a trail cam. It's got video and takes pictures. It's got the IR sensors for the night vision, motion detectors, battery operated. It's got the straps, so you can put it around a big tree or a lot of times small trees, whatever. But post, these they even have a tripod mount, so they don't have to strap to anything. You can put it up on a tripod. You can put it in a hallway. I mean, it doesn't have to be out in the woods. So SB11s. So yeah, I want to talk about spirit boxes. But in any case, this is another, and these aren't really that expensive. I mean, you want to try to find that balance between quality and, but these haven't been too bad. Whatever these are, I don't even know what these are. Togard hunting trail cameras, TOGUARD H40-1. But hey, I mean, they work. We got a couple of them, and if you go back and look at my Blue Mist Road video that I did when I did the collaboration with Philip Page, I used a trail cam out in the woods there. I think you can see how some of the images look there. If you want to see that,
I haven't talked to him in a while. Have you talked to Philip Page? Have you talked to him in a while?
Yeah, he took a break from his Saving Ghost channel for a while, and kind of working on his own kind of inner demon stuff or whatever. But he's kind of just recently come back, so I'm glad to see that he's kind of back doing some things. But yeah, so I mean, he just now recently came back, and the only reason why I knew that is because Terry Lynn's like, "Hey, Philip's back." But yes, honey, I will talk about that. Quit stomping. So, so here is the right here. I can't see this. I just see a little red dot in here. This is another. This is infrared, so you guys can see it on camera. But this is an infrared light, and what's nice about this is a great attachment for some night vision cameras that we have, because a lot of times, and I don't have one right now because I'm filming on it, but they just have a small little sensor that doesn't go far. They do okay, but adding something like this really boosts your little, and you can get a little cheap, Chinese handy cam, pretty cheap, that has night vision, and they're not bad. Believe it or not, they're not bad. So cost effective. Coupled with this infrared flashlight, not very expensive at all either. But yes, which I'm going to talk about right now, Terry Lynn. So, spirit boxes. I don't have any on me because I've been grounded from them. We actually own like 3, I think. We have the SB7, the S box, and the SB11. Now, the SB11 so. Way back when, if you guys go back in my videos, you'll see the Nickerson Sneed investigation. I left it there because I went back there the second night by myself, and I used it, and that was the only thing I left behind. And it stayed there for like a long time, like a few months or something. I don't know, but we finally coordinated with Rhonda Caudell, and we finally got our SP11 back, because they just set it aside, put a little sticky note on it. Well, we get it back, but then after that, I don't know what happened to it, because it was I don't know if I took it when I went to go film our Para Explorers, but somehow it's gone, and we just cannot find it anywhere. And that's not cheap. Like that SB11, we really liked. It was louder than the SB7. It had 2 channels. You could do an AM scan forward, and then you can do another scan backwards on an FM frequency, simultaneously. It just had some nice features and really like the SB11. It's a shame that I don't know. I honestly, and I'm usually pretty good about knowing where our stuff is. And so, anyways, guys, so I'm in the doghouse on that one every time we talk about spirit boxes. The S box, I'm not. The S box is kind of like the SLS of spirit boxes. It has a pause, like a hang up feature. So when there's a spike, the technology is what they describe as like when there's like a spike in like a spirit communication, the S box will actually during its sweep it'll kind of pause for a second. The thing I don't like about that is that kind of defeats the purpose of that regular sweep rate. So when you hear a word spread out over a couple seconds, then it's over multiple frequencies. So chances are that's a real communication versus hearing like a DJ or hearing a piece of music. So when that S box hangs up on that spike, it's like you might be hearing that DJ voice or whatever. So it's nice for videos. I do still use it from time to time just to see what it says. But again, if you're really trying to be true, you got to be careful of that. So, as you said, not taking any more of our equipment. You can just take your recorder, phone, and a flashlight. Well, honey, I'm sorry. You can suck it. I'm just kidding. I love you. I love you. Don't stop. Okay. Another thing, and God, you guys are not going to be able to see this. Yeah, there's no way. Look.
Oh, wow. Oh, it's a green laser?
Yeah. I'm getting rid of myself. Phasing myself out of here. Look at this. So, this is a grid. There's a grid light. This is a cheap one. This is Laser 303. This is like a China thing. It's got a key. You can lock it out. If you want to pull out the key, I just leave it in. But it locks it out. Now, what I do recommend, if you guys get this, if you save some money, there's some nice laser grids out there. Don't get me wrong. But if you're not like me, if you want to save some money, get this one. Now, the only thing is you can't. The button doesn't stay down. So to bypass that, just get you a little rubber band or like a hair tie, something elastic, and you can just go around there. It'll hold it down when you have the key on. It'll just hold it down. There you go. So a little tip for you. If you want to get one of these, just make sure you have some kind of little band there. Now, okay. Stacy, anything you want to add at this point? I always try to give you a chance to interject every once in a while. I don't want to eat up all the floor time here.
Well, as far as giving advice to people on what they need to do in the event of a haunting, if they're going to do it themselves, they need to do a lot of research. Or, shameless plug, take my courses on Hoodoo and Conjur. It's the link is in the description below. It gives you a cornucopia of options on how to deal with spirits, even divination and communicating with them without being psychic. It's talking coconut. It's yes/no questions similar to the dowsing rods that Josh has been doing, where you can ask questions and get yes or no answers, and you're talking to the spirits at that point. But if you are dealing with a haunting that is you consider to be harmful, then you have options in these courses, or you can call Josh. He can come in and see what's really going on.
Well, and that's the thing is like honestly, if you're going to take care of it yourself, because here's the thing: sometimes people don't want to attract attention to their house. They don't want people to know at all. They're like, I don't want people to show up in my house like, who's over your house? Well, none of your business. But with all of our nosy neighbors nowadays, so if you are going to try to take care of yourself, then I do recommend, yes, you should educate yourself. Take courses. Do that first. Take the courses, do that first, and then you can start looking at some equipment. So I'll just show you guys here as I'll just show you on here. Kind of harder to see. Hey, let me switch over to a different light source here. So there you guys can kind of see a little bit there. I just put some of the things out on the table for you so you can kind of see the trail cam and the baby monitor. Like, I just wanted you to be able to see some of the spread of this is just a little taste of some things. Trust me, we got all kinds of stuff. But what I wanted to talk about too is like going to an SLS or a DSLR camera. Going to a camera, there is some benefits to using this over like a cell phone, especially if you start getting into different lenses. This lens here, for example, is better in low light because it is a 2.8 f-stop, meaning the lower the number of f-stop, the more low light, the more light it will let in. So this is a good lens right here for low light situations. The problem is that this has an autofocus. The motor is a little loud. So if you're using your onboard mic or even a Rode mic attached right to your camera, you're going to pick up the autofocus motor. Also, there's a stability. There's no stability in this. So if you're going to use this type of lens during an investigation, there's two things that you want to have. One is wireless audio. Wireless audio can be achieved a couple different ways. You can actually, and I think Terry Lynn was supposed to order me my microphone. I don't know if she ever did, but you can take a recorder like this and you can put it in your pocket. You can have a recorder that goes out a wire that goes up, and this will record for hours. And you can walk around with high quality audio with a microphone tucked under your shirt, clipped under your shirt, and that'll record your audio. And then for stability, there is you want to get into more of gimbals. So, for example, this here is an awesome gimbal. This is the Moza. I love this gimbal. This thing is just, it's badass. This thing, and this will support your DSLR camera. Okay. Once you balance it all out and you turn this thing on, it's charged up. This gimbal, this will take care of not having stability on here. This will make it nice and smooth for you. But again, you're going to want to have that wireless audio, because if you use a nice Rode mic on your camera, you're going to pick up that autofocus. These are things you want to test out before you go to an investigation. Mm-hmm. There's nothing worse than going to an investigation, trying your new equipment, only to come home and look at all your audio is ruined because you're hearing your lens motor like zzz, 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 zzz. You don't want to hear that. So test your equipment out. Now on here, I've got the standard kit lens, which is the 18 to 55 millimeter kit lens. What it means is that this is just standard. It comes with the camera most of the time. But your kit lenses, even though they only go down to like, I think it's 4.5 f-stop, this kit lens is still great. I use this all the time. It's still a great lens. It's super silent, so that means I can run my my Rode mic on there, or I have a T-bar, which I also cannot seem to find right now. There's a T-bar where I can put my Rode mic on one side and then have lighting over here on the other side. So that's another good thing, is you want to have some lighting from time to time. This particular lighting, you can dial it down. There's all kinds of fun stuff. You can change it. You can even do tungsten lighting on here, which is like to make those cool looking, professional shots. Mm-hmm. All kinds of things. So just wanted to point out some equipment to you guys while we're talking tonight. Just giving you guys some ideas of some things to get into that aren't necessarily budget busters. Because, yeah, you can go to these websites. There's like REM pods for like $300, $200. Which, by the way, REM pods, I wouldn't mind having one. That's, if you guys have seen, that's one thing I don't have is a REM pod. I don't even have the cheap one. There's like a cheap one that kind of looks like it almost looks like a recorder, but it's got a big long antenna, and you can actually touch that, or it'll send an alarm. But that's like an affordable one. I don't even have that one right now. So, man, this lighting. Now that I turned on the lighting for like this equipment, it's harsh out here. I'm like trying to light up the table, but anyway, so you guys can kind of see some of that, some of the equipment that you want to use in investigations. You want to definitely use any of these things on the table, your laser grid, all that stuff. I don't know, but you can, and even the dowsing rods that you see over here, dowsing rods, which if you guys have not seen, I do dowsing rod sessions all the time. These are a great tool for communication. So with dowsing rods, there's a couple things I do want to talk about with these. Okay. So with the dowsing rods, one is whenever you get a pair, now these are just a basic copper pair, but I love these. You can find other fancy ones, and that's fine. But this pair, you kind of bond to your rods, and you don't really want to share with that. I mean, I could hand these to somebody and let them use them, but honestly, once you get your dowsing rods, you pretty much want to try to just keep those rods for yourself. Okay, if you want to get an extra pair just for guests or something, if you wanted to have a backup pair, you keep separate. You can, but with these, you want to keep that energy bond, so to speak. Does that make sense, folks?
Yeah, it's like, do you really want to share a toothbrush? No.
Right.
There are some things that are yours.
And I am going to get back to some realistic lighting here for myself. Okay, and let's. I'm going to take that off there. I don't think you guys have to stare at that. All right, so then we're back to some normality here, but yeah, guys. Again, with anything, I feel like it's important that if you're not a priest like Stacy and things like that, again, just average people, open up a session but close the door. Okay, if you invite a spirit. I always use, most of the time when you hear me ask for a spirit to come forward, I usually throw in the clause of a positive spirit. Okay. So that's one thing. That's one thing that kind of helps. The other thing is once you're done, you tell them to go back where they were from. So go back where they were. You're closing that session. You're sending them back to wherever they were hanging out before, not your house, not your room, not right next to you, sitting on your lap or sitting behind you, wherever they were hanging out. All right. Go back, close the door. But anytime you do those sessions, and the funny thing is, anybody can mess up. And I messed up the other night. I don't want to say the name. It was one of the spirits we were contacting from somebody. I don't know if we told you this, Stacy. I don't remember if we told you this. But we had it was one of the spirits that we were contacting, like one of the relatives, and I didn't close that session. And it was funny because it was like my son had seen something in the house. Our lights were flickering a lot, and of course our son's like, "Oh, the bulbs are going bad," or whatever. The LED lights are smart bulbs.
Yeah.
And so Carolyn's like, "No, watch," and she was like, "You need to." Like stop messing with the lights, and then the lights would go solid, and he's like, oh my god. So I get home and I had to come down and close out the session and kick the spirits out, close down the session, and it was fun because the lights have never flickered since. We didn't change anything, we didn't do anything, but there was definitely activity going on in our house when I left that open. So that's what I'm saying. Even myself, a veteran, you can forget. You can just get in a hurry. I had to go to work that night. So I hurried up and ended the live stream and took off, and it was like I totally forgot to close the session.
Yeah, it happens. I mean, if you think about it, what you're doing is, semi-dangerous in that regard. You're not dealing with spirits because these are relatives of people who are in the chat. So it's not like they're evil spirits or even assholes. They're just, kind of hanging out because they were never told to leave. But if you're in a situation where you're, at a location that is haunted and you open up something, you can't forget that. And it's not something to be taken lightly. I mean, just think about it this way. You have trained military and police officers who spend hours and hours in safety trainings and dealing with firearms. Yet every once in a while you get one that shoots themselves in the junk. It's because they just do not respect the weapon. You have to respect the process.
Sorry, it's not a laughing matter, but it just shoot themselves in the junk. It just,
and I don't know why, but they always seem to do it on YouTube. So that's what happened. They got careless. They didn't respect the weapon, and they shot themselves in the junk. You have to respect the process because you don't want to shoot yourself in the junk.
Okay, so here's another tip. So another great thing, and I want to publicly again thank this individual who donated this, basically, who bought this for us for the channel. A friend of mine. He doesn't like to be mentioned, so I won't put him on the spot if he ends up watching this. But thank you again. So, and that is a drone, folks. Yeah. So a while back, a buddy of mine said, "Hey, I want to buy you a drone." I was like, "What, dude? That's too much. Like, I can't," because I'm very humble like that. Like my wife and I, we don't like people buying us stuff, whatever. I mean, we do well for ourselves for the most part. But it's like he really wanted to really help us out with the channel, and he was enjoying the growth of things. So, anyways, but folks, this is the DJI 2, the Mini 2, and I gotta say, yes, there's all kinds of drones. We can get a whole video about drones, but bottom line is, if you just want a good drone, if you want to see this drone in action, go check out. Well, you can see there's two things. One is if you guys have Paraflix. I know you guys hear me talk about Paraflix all the time. If you have a Paraflix subscription, go to Para Explorers, go to my show, that season 1 episode, and watch that. You'll see a lot of drone footage in there of this little guy right here. Or you can even watch the trailer. You'll see, I believe, at least one, if not a couple, drone shots in there. But this is another great tool to have when doing investigations. It can also kind of creep into some places that you just can't go because maybe something's a little too old, the floorboards have given away or whatever. There's some other purposes, right? So, but the DJI Me 2, what I like about it, you can see, look how small this little guy is. I mean, look at this. This is awesome. And what's so cool is, with just like, you take off the little band thing. I mean, look at this. This thing, it just folds out just like this. Look at that. Oops, it's been a while. But look at that. This little dude is awesome. So, and you just, of course, take off your little camera cover there, and you can see, and you can see it's even on like a little gimbal, so it's really stable and things like that. So, but it's price range wise, even though this was purchased, this was a gift, but price wise, it's in that affordable range. But guys, I really highly recommend this if you're trying to find that balance between what's a good drone versus money, like your budget. And it just folds up. It's so small. It's awesome. I love it. But I'll bring it up also for another reason. So if you guys watched kind of recently, I had done a little bit of a collaboration with John from Exploration Unknown for the Indian Cave. And if you notice, there's no drone footage. And that's because I took my drone, but it has a 3-pack, a battery pack. Okay, this is what comes with it if you buy the extra little thing. But these pop in here. This is like a charge station that comes with it. And what'll happen is once you charge it, it'll go through all and it'll charge them in sequence. Well, the problem is, and I didn't know this, but your drone batteries will not last. Like you can charge them all up and be like, hey, I haven't used my drone. I charged up like a month ago. It's probably dead. Okay. So I'm not used to that. I'm used to kind of like batteries, like where you have them charged up and you're like, hey, but these will not last. They last when they're charged up and you're using them. They just don't last long term. So note to self, charge them up the night before, right up to the last minute, and then unplug them, pack them up, and then take them wherever, and then they'll be good. So little extra note.
Well, have you tried taking them out of the pack, charging them up and pulling them out of the pack? Because the pack might have a discharge function where it actually sucks them dry.
It probably does, but it's just a lot easier to keep them in there. It keeps them nice, and it keeps it all in the case. Here's the joystick. There's just like pull out the little actual sticks. You can
nice
screw it on there, but it flies really well. Just like a PlayStation controller in a way. There's camera features, zoom features. This extends out to hold your camera. There's Android or iPhone attachments that plug straight to your camera. There's an app. It's super easy. Trust me. Just about anybody can fly a drone. And this one even has an auto return feature where it'll return to its original. Like if you lose it, or if you just like you just can't see it anymore, you can hit a button or whatever. It'll come back. It'll come back to you.
Nice.
Anyways, I just thought I'd talk a little bit about it, guys. It's just something I'm proud of. I love, and I can't wait to use more of this year. Didn't get a lot of chance to use it, but so that's just some more things to have in your guys' arsenal. What are we looking time wise? We're okay. We're maybe about 15 more minutes of the show.
Mm-hmm.
Usually I try to keep it about an hour and a half. So, God, there's so many other tools out there, guys. There's always the latest and greatest. There's Ovilus devices, which it's hard to explain. I'd rather show you, but they look like a recorder, or they almost look like a spirit box, except you'll hear an automated voice. There's different apps out there you can buy. There's so many things, but bottom line is, if I was just to, like, whenever I go to an investigation nowadays, and I'm not really trying to get all technical and set up a bunch of stuff, because remember, the more stuff you take, the more evidence you got to review. So again, if you've got let's say you have 2 or 3 of these voice recorders and you did a 4-hour investigation, well, guess what? That's 4 hours you have to review this, 4 hours you have to review that, 4 hours to review another one, 4 hours to review another one, 4 hours of your trail camera, 4 hours of your video camera, it adds up. And next thing you know, you've got 40 or 50 hours of, in like sitting there listening to the same thing over and over half the time, or just hearing, hey, is there any spirits here? It's boring. There's almost nothing you hear, and it's the same stuff. It's horrible. I always hated evidence review, but what always made it worth it is when you finally get to hear that 1 or 2 EVPs that you hear, and you just know it's, it is. So it does make it worth it in the end when you finally do get to capture something. But I'm just saying, keep in mind all the evidence. So when I go camera, I want to videotape it. I like to have a good quality mic on my camera. Or again, wireless mic, or a good quality EVP recorder. Well, maybe not good quality, but you know what I mean. Or EVP. I definitely like to take my K2 on everywhere I go. Maybe night vision sometimes, like a night vision camera. We also have Psionics night vision camera, which is really nice. It actually even has color, like a color mode. It's like a unique kind of. And you can see some of that on the Nickerson Sneed footage where we were experimenting, where you see the difference between sort of that black and white, or there's green, or there's the color mode where it simulates these colors. Pretty wild, but it's pretty cool. It's cool. The Psionics is definitely a little more costly on that. Don't you drop that, making me nervous, graceful like a bull. But yeah, and Terry Lynn was talking about the spirit earlier. Sorry, I got behind in the comments, but Terry Lynn's like, yeah, not to mention he was peeking around the corner. So yeah, when we had that open session, the guy kept peeking around. Paranormal.
Well, at least you recognize what the problem was right away, and you got it resolved. I mean, a lot of people don't. They let it fester for days, weeks, and months. I'm like, I don't know why it's doing this now. Why we're like, well, were you playing with a Ouija board? Well, about a month ago.
Yeah. And I think, I think, if you really want to expand on this, Stacy, but why don't you expand on how people dig themselves in a hole deeper?
Well, the Ouija board is the easiest way to it. I mean, they're in of themselves, they're not evil. They're not terrible things. It's a tool. And it's a way for you to open up a door, communicate with the spirits, and follow the directions. You close the door behind. So it was what it was. Even if you're, doing it in a party, that kind of thing, as a form of entertainment, which I don't suggest, because in my realm of experience, spiritism and dealing with the dead is a serious affair. Doing it while you're drunk and high and people are giggling and, doing all kinds of other stuff isn't really a serious kind of event. So, bear that in mind. But I'm not going to tell you what you should and shouldn't do with your life. When it comes to closing the door and making sure that everything is kosher, you can do that, without a Ouija board. You don't need a Ouija board in order to open up a door. You can do it any number of different ways. Sometimes, inadvertently, when you hear the most common one is when you become of age, your parents have died off, and suddenly you say something that your mother said to you or your father said to you, that you hear their voice in your mouth.
Right?
When that happens and you start, yelling at your father for, God damn it, dad, that kind of thing, you're actually talking to the spirit on the other side because, you heard your father's voice in your own mouth. Closing that, saying, thank you, Father, peace and light be with you, blah, blah, blah. It is kind of important as well, because you can open up that door and next thing you know, dad is wandering your halls, or mom or whoever it is that you invoked, because that's what you're doing, is you're invoking a spirit. It is this idea that we are autonomous, we are completely in of themselves by ourselves, is a lie. It's something that we tell ourselves in Western society, that we are our own independent person, and what you think and what you say and all of that is all on you. Not really. You are communicating with everyone else on the planet at the same time. You are part of a network. The dead are also part of that network. It's a streaming service that you cannot disconnect from. And if you don't recognize that, you can actually get yourself in trouble in a lot of different ways, in which people don't even realize how they got themselves into trouble. An example of that has nothing to do with the dead, but with actual telepathy. You can actually send a message to someone when they're in a a state of mind like REM sleep, where they will actually start thinking about what it is that you wanted them to think about. Good, bad, whatever your intentions are, doesn't really matter. But you can actually send messages to people, and they can send messages to you. People who are thinking about you will communicate with each other. Suddenly your high school friend you hadn't seen for 30 years, you hadn't thought about them in any way, shape, or form, and suddenly, bam, you think about them, and then 10 minutes later you meet them in the store. That kind of thing is very common because you are part of this zeitgeist, this spiritual realm, and your words have weight. You can invoke things even if you don't even realize that's what you're doing. It has power. Most people don't even realize why or how it works. Doesn't really matter. It does.
Right. Yeah, and Terry Lynn was talking about. She brought up that she's going to be making a few spirit boards here coming up. She got her resin in today. We got the molds. We got all kinds of fun stuff too. So she's going to be
nice
doing the resin, doing a nice resin board. It's good standard size board. About the normal like board style, and
putting on Etsy.
Probably, yeah. I just completed my first. I just got my first pendulum stand, like the single stand, and just stained it red oak.
Nice.
So it's going to be representative of the fire element. I'm looking at maybe doing a blue stain. It's like an aqua stain. It's to represent the water element, things like that. But I'm probably going to have 2 of those examples. I've got a few different styles that I'm doing, but Terry Lynn's going to, trust me, when we'll show you guys, we'll debut it, because she's also working on a spirit box that she's making from scratch. So she's making a spirit box that she's been working on. She's getting ready to do some paint. We worked out the battery issues and stuff.
You gotta do a shopping channel episode where it's got all the stuff out there and put it on a little thing that spins and it just rotates and you're talking about it. That would be cool.
Yeah, I know. That's what we need to do. If we flesh out the Etsy shop. So guys, we are looking at putting together an Etsy shop for any of you guys that are interested in certain things. We will have a variety of things for sale. We have some pendulum stands. We have a couple different styles we're going to have. We'll have spirit boards that Terry Lynn's going to be custom making with resin. We're also going to be looking at even possibly some wood laser etched boards. We haven't got our laser etcher yet. I've been looking into that. We're talking about it. We were gonna get it. We were really close, but we have a few more things we got to do first. But we're going to be doing that. We may even sell some tarot readings. So if you guys want readings, you want to order some personalized readings, we'll have that available where you can purchase it through the Etsy store. And who knows, maybe we'll get Stacy to put together some spells or something for us, and maybe we can put those on our store also. So if you want a love spell or something, maybe we can talk Stacy into doing something like that if you want to order something like that. But we're going to try to have a variety of things on sale. I don't know about paranormal equipment. I thought about customizing some equipment, possibly like reskinning the K2 meter, things like that, reskinning it and then selling it for just a little bit more, that, just for the effort of me reskinning it and stuff, or custom, like a custom paint job, so to speak. So we're looking at a few options for sure, but we're definitely, like I said, I've already built one of the stands. I'm just in the process of staining it right now. And Terry Lynn's, like I said, working on all that stuff. It says love spells, Daisy. I can't get good weather. Yeah. So that's the problem. What we're like right now with the weather being up and down. It's like right now, like we're using the garage as like a shop also, but we have the back for like painting. We don't like to paint inside the garage, even with the garage door open, with the overspray and things like that. So with the back area, we have like a paint booth set up, but unfortunately, again, weather and stuff like that can mess with things. So we're just waiting on the right weather so she can advance on her spirit box build. But once we get all that, we're gonna, we'll put some of the stuff there, and of course, we'll do show and tell here for you guys on a Thursday night. We'll debut some of the stuff, and you guys will be able to see. Um, Cast a poop spell on Biden.
Yeah. How do you know I already haven't? You know,
Right? I wonder how many have. I don't know. So that brings me up to, I guess I would ask this question of Stacy. So Stacy, if you have 10 good witches and 10 bad witches, and they all cast the same spell on one individual, does that rule each other out? Like the 10 minus, is that like a positive 10 and a minus 10? Does that just rule each other out? Or if 9 bad witches do it, but only 8 good witches, does that one bad witch, do they take the cake, so to speak, and then the spell is?
no, it all comes down to relationships. The relationship you have with spirit. People who have a shitty relationship with, spirit, it's flaky at best on whether you get results. If you have a really good relationship with spirits and they understand who you are and what your true intentions are and what it's for, the uh, the movement, so to speak, they'll you can accomplish a lot more with a glass of water and a tea candle than sacrificing a goat with naked women running around a bonfire. It's just your personal relationship with spirit is what is most important, because there's loyalty involved, and your spirit guide will bring in the big guns when it's necessary, as opposed to wicked spirits who just use it for mercenary purposes. So,
Well, and I did notice, like, I can attest to that, because one thing I noticed is that, so I got into the dowsing rods, like, what, it's been a little over a year now, maybe, since I've really been starting to use them. I've been not doing dowsing rod sessions all the time, but like going back to when I started incorporating them into things. Um, and the success rate was, so I had some pretty good results here and there, but it was mostly like opening up the channel and seeing who would come forward, who would talk to me, this and that. Now, and then when I started doing tarot and I started learning about doing tarot readings, um, I was like, you know what? Let me reach out and find out about my spirit guide. And so I reached out and I invited my spirit guide to be with me and to have that relationship with me, in that sense of just like, hey, I'd like to be able to work with you, and kind of that mutual respect, and just started that bond. And now when I do in this, I've noticed I'm able, a spirit guide is able to help me be more successful with reaching specific spirits and stuff, being able to go find certain relatives. Not always, but again, some spirits are busy or whatever. But it's definitely been a lot more successful than just trying to blindly like call out to the ether and say, "Hey, can so and so step forward?" So it's definitely helped to have that relationship.
yeah, and it's not just in that regard too. I mean, spirit guides or your protecting guides, they're there to help you in this life, help you fulfill the mission in which you have in this life. You don't really remember what the mission statement is because when you were born, it kind of got wiped clean, which is why you have an assist with your spirit guide. But you can ask them for help in all manners, not just in paranormal kind of situations, but if you're, seriously stuck along the roadside, your cell phone's dead, your tire's flat, your car won't start, you can start talking to your spirit guide, and suddenly someone will show up and say, hey, you need some help? You know, things will just start to happen for you in that regard, because that's what they're there for. You just need to reach out to them. And if you have a good relationship, you know, forget about it. You don't have to worry about witches coming at you for anything, because they got your back.
Right. And absolutely. And that's what I said. I didn't realize that importance until I recently discovered my spirit guide, and I've been trying to have a good relationship in showing respect and, you know, just that having a good bond. And I know his name starts with S and it's a male. That's it so far. And that he never knew me in real life. So it's not one of those, it's not like a relative or somebody I know in real life. But I did find out that apparently my spirit guide was human at one point. And his first name starts with S. But I haven't been able to narrow it down yet. So I'm learning a little each time, you know. So let's see. I'm so enjoying this tonight, just you all talking. Yeah, well, we're about to end because it's getting late. It is 11:35 p.m. It's been an hour and a half we've been doing the show. So we will start to wrap up on the back end here. So, but guys, if you're getting into paranormal or if you're just starting in paranormal, there's so many things. And, you know, just watching some other people do it a lot on YouTube doesn't mean that it's right. So if you have questions, reach out. Darren's like, no, I know, but we can't talk all night. I mean, she wouldn't mind probably, but
She's come down and get on camera.
Right? I know, but she will. She will. We're working on it. All right. So I'm just kind of taking a moment to clean up my show and tell mess while we're finishing out. I think maybe once I clear some of the stuff out, maybe I'll do a daily tarot reading for people tomorrow. Because, you know, I try to do that each time we're on here. And I didn't do it yet. So we'll try to give a daily tarot reading for those of you that would like that.
Yeah, the priming that's happening in the news right now is that we're going to have a massive cyber attack between now and the 15th, where there's going to be full out, global conflict on the cyber level, and the banking system and everything is going to go down. So we might be dealing with no power, might be dealing with who knows what.
Cheerful news.
Yeah. So,
on the lighter side of things, the world may finally be coming to an end. Oh.
And the tarot is the only thing standing in between them. If it comes up and shows that tomorrow is going to be a really good day, hey, go with it.
I think we've had some optimism, here and there from the tarot and stuff. And the spirits in general, I think, when we've talked to the spirits, I think even with the Russia stuff, there's been some optimism, it seems like, through the spirits with the Dowser Gods back when they were talking with us and on the Russia stuff. And then, but yeah, so like Terry Lynn, she's like, I love listening to you guys. Can't tell you how many times I play you two talking when I go to sleep. So literally, like, I label there's a playlist, and she will just put on our shows and,
I don't know how I feel about that, that she can't go to sleep until, the droning sound of my voice is just going on and on and on.
Oh yeah, it's not just you, trust me. She's always told me how I put her to sleep. All right. So all right. Yes, between both of us, yeah, I'm sure we're really she's just snoozing away. Maybe that's the problem, honey. You haven't been watching the playlist that much. What else? I think I got all that. Okay. All right. So if we're gonna do this, we gotta do this right. I gotta light my candle. I gotta have love and light. Get some positive energy in here.
Got your water?
Yes. I always make sure I have water for our shows because you never know what's going to happen on our shows. All right. And let's bring in our other camera here. There we go. Awesome. So we're going to do this daily reading for you all. I'm going to clear the energy off the deck. So quit stomping. What the hell? Find out your spirit guide's name. Very curious. What am I supposed to go through? Like all the alphabet, like the letters with S for the names?
You look at a baby book. They usually do them in most popular rather than alphabetic.
We might on another show, not tonight, because we got to start wrapping this up, honey. I know you want us to talk all night. All right. But we will. We'll get there in due time, trust me. All right. Tarot. All right, Tarot. If you could please give anybody watching this video on replay or right now, if you're watching this, this is for you. That's how it works. Okay. If you clicked on this video, even if you skip to the end and you see this right now, this message is for you. Tarot, could you please give the viewers of this video some guidance for tomorrow? Okay. What guidance for tomorrow?
Which is almost today.
Which is almost today, but not yet. So, what guidance can you give everybody? Okay. Okay. Here and here. All right, that's it. So tomorrow we have the Nine of Cups and we have the Two of Pentacles. So the Nine of Cups is embrace and accept what truly makes you happy. Your fulfillment is most important right now. So this is contentment and self-satisfaction. So what makes you happy, right? This is the stuff tomorrow that you're going to want to embrace. Okay, now, to clarify this, though, let's go to the Two of Pentacles. The Two of Pentacles is that it's time to experiment and try different actions to get better results. So, if you want to look at it like this is embracing what you love. This is try something a little different or a different take on it to get another level. So to make you even happier. So whatever you love tomorrow, embrace that, but maybe take a new approach on it to make you even happier. Does that make sense, folks? But that's what it's telling you. That's why that clarifier is saying, so it's not just tomorrow do the same old thing that makes you happy. It's do what makes you happy, embrace what makes you happy, but try something different, a different way of doing it, perhaps, depending on what it is. All right. So there you go. Take that for what it is. Stacy, what do you think about that? You like that?
Yeah, TGI Friday. You know?
That's right.
It's
TGI Friday. So if TGI Friday makes you happy, then maybe try that new thing on the menu that you've been wanting to try. Not sponsored by TGIF.
TGIF. You know, it's time to go out and party and, you know, get out and stretch your legs, get out with your boyfriends, your girlfriends, your buds, your chick friends, whatever it is, and get freaky.
Yeah. But again, do it like find a different way. What makes you happy, find a different way to approach it. Like find a different way to take it to another level, maybe. Unless it's a bad habit that makes you happy, then don't overdose or whatever. Don't. That's not the point. You know, don't do something extreme to get yourself hurt. Remember, it's to make yourself happy, not hurt or dead. So, all right, we didn't get the death card as a clarifier. Like, now you imagine that, like, hey, embrace what you love, but the clarifier is like death. Like, but that really doesn't mean death physically, but it can mean that the end of a habit or something. So, who knows? You know that you could still read that. You could still read that, but we didn't get that.
No.
So, all right. All right. So I left you guys with a daily. I think we'll go ahead and start wrapping things up there. I just want to cover a couple of real quick things. One is Stacy has courses. We got the link down in the comment section. You go all the way down to the bottom where it says Stacy Talich. Click on that link, or if it's not clickable, highlight it, copy and paste it into your URL. But go to there. Check out his courses. I'm telling you, all kinds of stuff, remote viewing, survival. So just go check it out. Also, as far as my things, one is let's get out of this view. First of all, let's get back to what we're supposed to be here. Okay. Again, Bigfoot Anon. Hey, what's going on? Always popping in at the last minute, seems like. So every time I ask for something, next time, blah, blah, blah. Yeah, I know. But anyways, I'm trying, laugh out loud again. I'm trying. So, as far as like everything here. So Paranormal Underground magazine, guys, go check it out. I'm telling you, it's 12 months. It's a year. Every first of the month, you can get it for free if you say, hey, Josh sent me or the Everything Paranormal Show sent me. But go hit them up. You're going to get a year for free. You don't have to, no promo codes, nothing. Just tell them I sent you. Just email them, whatever. You're going to get a year for free first of every month. In fact, you probably just end up getting it free. I don't think I've paid for them in the last few years. And that's not because I'm sponsored by them. But it's an amazing publication. It's fully illustrated digital magazine. You can request physical copies, but it's amazing. If you really want to read some good paranormal articles, go check them out. Also, Paraflix. Go check out Paraflix. It's very important. I don't know if I have.
It's like Netflix for the paranormal. If you don't know, it just content is pure paranormal content. A lot of it is original to Paraflix.
Right. And if you go to Paraflix, there is some codes out there. You have to look it up. But anyways, go there, all paranormal content, and look up Para Explorers. Okay. In fact, check this out.
Your team has been chosen. You must complete all of the tasks. I do not tolerate failure.
Well, there you go. You were first. Yeah. And so as I got through Stomp Text there, Carolyn was saying that everyone is now going there. Like ever since I went there. So I wasn't the first to go to Old Hospital on College Hill. Destination Fear they went there like right as the ownership was like literally in the middle of buying the property. But again, really nothing had, nobody else had really been going there for several months as they were working on it. And then I got to go there, film, and it was amazing. They were really good folks there. Can't talk enough about them. It's a great location. And then actually right before Para Explorers, right before that episode released, Franco TV released an episode where he went there after I did, and I was the first one to spend the night alone there. Now, I wasn't the first one to spend the night. Destination Fear did stay there as a team, but I was the first one to stay there alone by myself all night long. So that is my claim to there. So that's awesome. But in any case, I'm proud of that trailer. I still love watching it every once in a while. I forget about it, and then I play it. I'm like, man, I'm really proud of that trailer. That's my best piece of work. I love it. So far, anyways. But let's see, what else did we? The incinerator room. Oh my god, you got to go watch the episode. If you have Paraflix, go watch the episode. Watch that incinerator room part. But that's real. I mean, that is 100. Oh my god, that is to this day. That's the most paranormal activity I've ever.
They still got human bits in that incinerator too, huh?
Yeah, there's supposedly they never clean it out, and I guess they don't want to or something. Like they don't want to mess with that, so they basically it's just like, So who knows? Who knows what really is in there? But you don't want to go digging in there. Trust me, that's a sandbox you want to stay out of. But yeah, let's see what else. I'm just trying to think of the things that you guys need to know about. TikTok. TikTok, definitely go on there. Beyond the Veil 2022. Go there. Start following us on TikTok. Again, Beyond the Veil 2022. All right. I do have an Instagram, but again, a lot of those links are down below. So check out the links down below, guys. Start following us on all that stuff. Notification bells, all that stuff. We do the tarot readings on Wednesdays. A lot of times, Stacy's also joining me when we do the tarot readings, the dowsing rod sessions, and so he's got info that he likes to throw out there. So if you like hearing him and you like getting education from him, again, sometimes he interjects with some things there, and he may even have some things to offer, some advice on some things. If you need a little assistance in finding that one you love or getting that person to actually get interested in you, he may have solutions.
That's the thing. The divination that you do with the tarot cards isn't set in stone. You can change your fate. You can change what's going on. If you have a situation where someone that you're interested in and the cards are saying, no, yes, like there's a maybe in there, there's some wiggle room to change your fate, and using Conjur to change that fate is well within the acceptable rules of play. You can work that love spell and get them to come your way, but it's not a situation where you have to accept what is being said. You can change things.
Yeah, very good. And that's what I'm saying. So folks, and again, Stacy can help you with that. So if you have that desire, and that's usually he tries to join me on Wednesdays. Now, some other days he can't join me every night of the week because that's not fair to him. But I'm also doing a lot of other lives where we're doing other tarot sessions, dowsing rod sessions, things like that. And your session may end up on TikTok as well. So But if you need anything privately, again, message us. If you need me to reach out to Stacy for you or something, if you have a question, you can always message me. If you can't seem to get them through Udemy or something like that, or Udemy, message me or whatever. I mean, we're good friends. We're hosts together here now. Trust me, I can get questions to him as well if somebody has anything. Stacy, the love voodoo priest. So,
You do not want to
yes.
know what I can do with a penis candle.
Oh man. But on that note, now that we're gonna get demonetized, no, but not that we're not even monetized, so it doesn't matter. But folks, I really hope you guys enjoyed the show. It's been a good show. I love talking about paranormal as well. But I look forward to it. If you guys have any suggestions on some topics that you want us to cover, by all means, message me. Let me know. I mean, pop them in the comments or something. Say, hey, would you guys talk about Atlantis or something? I don't know, like talk about the old biblical days or something. I don't know, anything you want. When it comes to paranormal, let us know. We'll try to cover that for you. We'll get into depth. You want to know more about witchcraft? Right here. I had to look at the camera right here. So, if you guys want to know about certain topics, there you go. Quit stomping on the man. She's stomping tonight a lot. You can't make a comment and stomp after every comment. You can't stomp after every comment, honey. I can't read them all. Jeez, you're talkative. I try to make sure that you're out there.
What do you want to talk about? What does she want to talk about?
I told you what I wanted to talk about. You dismissed me. Well, if you're talking about me finding out the name of my spirit guide's name, then no, I don't want to do that right now.
That's going to take some work.
Yeah, that. But no, we talked about something. I'm talking about for the next show. Just let me know, and I don't know. Maybe you can tell me after we get done with the show. But anyways, folks, we got to get going. It's been a long show, just about a 2-hour show. So I hope you guys enjoyed it. And remember, like, share, subscribe, and we'll see you in the next video. Remember, seek the truth.
Peace.